COVID-19 erode the gains made thus far or stop us from moving onwards in order to get further improvements to the working and living conditions. You can count on the ILO support to make domestic work decent for all domestic workers around the world. Good luck and have a nice day.
Dear friends from the IDWF, I'm honoured to send you greetings on this important day, June the 16th, when we celebrate the adoption in 2011 of Convention 189. The development and adoption of the Convention came after many years of struggle and lobbying by domestic workers. It's important to recall that the Convention stresses both the significant contribution that domestic workers make to the global economy, but also that this work continues to be undervalued and invisible. For me, the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted that contradiction, the significant contribution of workers that is not recognized or valued by society at large. We see this for many areas, in the health sector, in food production, in the care sector. Workers on the front line now rightly being recognized for their invaluable contribution to fighting the pandemic. But these workers need more than applause. This recognition of their value has to translate into improved conditions and better pay. For many domestic workers, we know that the pandemic has created enormous stress and fear. Fear of exposure to the virus if they continue working, and fear of hunger and not being able to pay their bills if they don't. In countries where citizens have taken solidarity action to establish food banks, we know that domestic workers are among the people depending on these for their survival. It underlines the importance and the struggle that we need to complete to get more ratifications and implementation of Convention 189, so that domestic workers, like other workers, have the protection of social security and furlough schemes. So celebrate today, but get ready to fight tomorrow for more ratifications and for justice for domestic workers. I wish you all a great day.
Salam Namaste to all my sisters in the International Domestic Workers Federation. I send you regards and greetings and solidarity from all of us at the Women's Rights Program of the Open Society Foundations. We celebrate International Domestic Workers Day. We stand with you. We know that you are the ones on the forefronts of offering care to so many of us across the globe who could not live lives of dignity and respect without the care and support that domestic workers provide us on a daily basis. You are the ones who care for our children, for our elderly, who keep our homes and our lives moving in ways that we take for granted. It is our sincere hope as feminists and as activists for women's rights that the International Domestic Workers Federation will know that we will always stand with you in this moment of crisis, not just during the time of COVID, which has so exacerbated the situation for so many of you. We know that the challenges you face to a livelihood, the ability to remain in a place of calm, even as you watch your families being devastated, and as you have to provide care to others, is deeply, deeply challenging. And yet we know that if anything, we have learned how deeply the domestic workers of the world are able to stand up and fight, not only for their rights, but for the right to a caring world and a caring economy. We hope that you know that all your sisters at the Women's Rights Program, myself, Marina Durano, Elisa Slattery, and Joy Chia stand with you on this day of celebration. And we also hope you know that you can count on us, not just through this crisis at COVID, but for the long term, to be able to work with you and support the incredibly important activities of the Federation. Thank you and take very good care.
Hi all, my name is Kristján Bragason and I'm the General Secretary of EFAT. For more than 10 years, EFAT has been intensifying its support for domestic workers in Europe. At the EFAT Congress last year, this engagement was further manifested. The significance of the domestic work sector in Europe is growing. a sector dominated by women whose skills are not recognized even though their work is essential. They are often overworked and underpaid. This has become even more apparent during the coronavirus pandemic. Unfortunately, this sector is dominated by undeclared informal work. About 70% of all domestic workers in Europe do not have contracts and no proper social protection. Together with the International Domestic Workers Federation, EFAT will fight for the rights and protection of domestic workers in Europe. The 16th of June, the International Domestic Workers Day, reminds us to stand together and support domestic workers in their efforts to organize and to fight for their rights. And I can assure you, EFAT is with you in this fight.
Greetings, sisters and brothers. I'm honored to join you on this most fantastic of holidays. Greetings to my sisters, Myrtle Whitboy, President, and General Secretary Elizabeth Tang of the International Domestic Workers Federation. The whole world celebrates with you today. At the Solidarity Center, we're honored to partner with IDWF affiliates in 31 countries, and we stand with you in this time of crisis. We have donated to IDWF's Solidarity Fund, and we urge everyone joining us today to do the same. Brothers and sisters and comrades, we come together today in a most brutal time. We have lost hundreds of millions of jobs and hundreds of thousands of lives. In so many of our countries, the profile of people hardest hit economically and in terms of their health security have exactly the profile of domestic workers. Women, immigrants and migrants, day laborers, indigenous people and rural people and the poor, and people of color. So many of our fellow citizens who live without labor protections and the right to form unions. And they care for the people who are most susceptible to this virus, the elderly and the infirm. But when domestic workers rise up, we all win. In countries like the United States, Brazil, and South Africa, when domestic workers organize, they directly confront racism, xenophobia, and white supremacy. When migrant domestic workers organize, they are often breaking unjust laws and building justice. Our powerful sisters in the Dominican Republic have organized 20,000 domestic workers to register for the Social Security system, and our comrades in Peru have won minimum wages all in a time of quarantine. When domestic workers organize, we expand democracy, we upend disenfranchisement, raise women's voice and power, and transform all our labor movements. When domestic workers organize, we all win. Thank you for joining us today. Viva IDWF, Amanla.
In 2011, 9 years ago, on June 16, the ILO Convention 189, C189, on decent work for domestic workers was adopted by governments, employers, and workers at the International Labour Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. The domestic workers' leaders, including founders of the IDWF, attended the conference, declared that the June 16 will be the International Domestic Workers' Day. Since then, it has been celebrated by domestic workers everywhere in the world every year. Let us watch this film, a short documentary on how the C189 was adopted at the ILO on June 16, 2011. And it will be followed by Myrtle Whitboy, our president, who will remind the government all their unfinished business. They have to ratify and implement the C-189 now.
We haven't reached the end of the road yet. And like we said when we came here, we're not going back to our countries without a convention.
My name is Esther Stevens, and I'm a full-time domestic worker. Domestic workers need a convention. Domestic workers.
It took years of organizing to get to this moment.
I will call all of us a movement of the people. The movement of the people is a tremendous movement. That's where the real power resides.
We know that capitalism is going to make use of the informal sector, and therefore it's important for informal sector to organize to fight the onslaught of capital.
Please join forces with the women of the International Domestic Workers Network who continue to challenge governments, employers, and their societies to provide basic labor protections for this marginalized group.
Queremos solicitar, pedir su solidaridad porque necesitamos una ley justa que nos reivindique el trabajo que tenemos tan importante para nuestras sociedades.
Please help the International Domestic Workers Network ensure the international ratification of the 100th Convention of the International Labor Organization.
Good day, brothers and sisters in the domestic worker struggle. This is your President Myrtle Witbooi speaking to you from South Africa. Today, it will be 9 years that we have won and the ratification of Convention 189. However, we are in isolation and we are in shutdown, but we can make use of Skype and Zoom to protest. We also have our voices, and we can do many things with our voices. So this year, on the 14th of June, because of many domestic workers working on the 16th of June, we want our messages to spread around the world. We are therefore urging all domestic workers in the world to come together on that day, to shout, to scream, to bang pots. Whatever you're going to do on that day, let the governments of the world hear us. Convention 189 is ours. We won it on the 16th of June 2011 at the ILO. We were there. We were victorious. We feel great. We've got our dignity and our respect on that day. So therefore, we cannot leave Convention 189 in the hands of the bosses and our government. We need to use it. So this year, let us tell that government that we want the ratification of Convention 189. Let us also this year, as we are in isolation, look after ourselves. Let us stay safe. Let us remember that it's so important also we wear masks, that we wash our hands, that we keep safe, because our struggle is far from over. So today, I salute all of you. I salute the IDWF for what they have done for workers in the world.